What's up everybody, Matt Maran here for another car review. This is of course the 2018 Dodge Challenger Hellcat Widebody. Huge thanks to Dodge for providing us with this very sweet bright red Hellcat Widebody to review for you guys today. Also, huge thanks to the Automotive Video Association for arranging this car and 11 other awesome cars and SUVs for the first ever Automotive Video Awards, which brings 6 of the best car reviewers in video and myself together to decide which is the best performance car and performance SUV of the year. So about the wide-body version of the Hellcat, well, all new here for 2018, and it is even more cool looking than a standard Hellcat, which is already just dripping with attitude and aggression. And now, I mean, you got these wide fender flares here to accommodate these 305 wide tires all around, and it just looks awesome. You get the same more aggressive front lip as the Demon, and you know, you still have the Hellcat hood. That's the only difference really between this and the Demon as far as visual stuff that's really obvious. You obviously have different wheels as well and things like that, but overall you get a lot of the same Demon looks and you still have 707 horsepower, so it's not like it's a slow car either. And so for those that, you know, can't get into a Demon, this is a really cool alternative that just still looks awesome. I still love the back end there with those retro looking taillights as well, and just the classic muscle car look that this has, while all the others are starting to try and go futuristic and more modern. I love this is sticking with the old school styling, and I think it still looks great. Right, so for the interior of the Hellcat Widebody, well, it's basically the same as any other Hellcat, but that's a very cool place to be. So anyway, first things first, sitting down in these seats, really great seats you have, very typical of other SRT products here, and you know, like I said, all the other SRT Challengers, and so they're really great seats. The large torso bolstering that really hugs you in pretty well, but they're wide enough to accommodate all body types, so they're not super snug or anything, but they feel really great. And then thigh support is also really good down here, and comes up nicely, so it really hugs you in well. Again, they're wide enough so that they don't feel like super racy, but they're very sporty feeling, and overall they're just great seats. They're nice and soft and comfortable, they're heated and cooled, and yeah, just really great seats. Next is the steering wheel, which is really great here in the Hellcats. It's a very thick, beefy wheel, has a nice little bit of a flat bottom here, and some nice materials on it too. I mean, there's some plastic and stuff, but overall it's a pretty nice looking, nice feeling wheel. You have little paddles here that are like half paddles, again, like all the other SRT stuff, that also has your radio controls here on the back of the wheel as well, and so good to have those. But yeah, just a really nice 9-3 grip. It's a little higher up, but it's still very comfortable, nice 9-3 grip, good 10-2 notches as well, and overall just a great wheel to use. Next are the gauges in the Challenger, which are one of my favorite parts about the interior of the Challengers here. They're just so fun and exciting to look at, you know, with the large tachometer and speedometer that are very retro in the way they're set up, with fun fonts that are, you know, large and fun to look at. I mean, you have a 200 mile/hour speedometer, and just really cool on those two analog gauges alone. And then you have that awesome digital portion in the middle that can show you, you know, all your typical type of trip info and radio, all kind of stuff. Or you can have all the different performance metrics or vehicle metrics, you know, boost. It'll have lap timers. I mean, anything you can imagine, really, you can pull up on there, you know, G meters, all that kind of stuff. And so awesome to have that there. And you can also have a lot of that stuff mirrored over on the large Uconnect touchscreen. Coming over to the center of the dashboard here, starting right up top with the, like I said, 8.4-inch Uconnect touchscreen, which is a really great unit. It's, again, it continues on. It's been in these Challengers here for a while, at least in the higher trim levels, and it's just a really nice unit. The Uconnect 8.4 is like one of the best in the industry, personally. It's really quick and snappy. I think they've actually revised the graphics, and it's even a little quicker here for 2018, and it just looks a tiny bit different with the menus at the bottom here and stuff, and it looks great still, though. It's so nice, very high resolution, very easy to and logical to get through everything, very simple touchscreen, of course, and the only thing that's slow is the performance pages. The first time you load that up, it takes like a solid 30 seconds to pull up that page, but it's understandable because once you load up those pages, you see all the different information you can pull up about the car. I mean, there's a live dyno graph that's going on. You got, you know, horsepower gauges, and, you know, like I said, all those lap timers, G meters, anything you want to display on there, and it's so cool. They give you all that information available to you, and so awesome to have that. Like I said, you know, the radio controls, nav, all that kind of stuff are pretty typical of any other, you know, Chrysler 8.4-inch Uconnect screen, and so overall, a really great setup, though. And it's also worth noting that these do also have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto and all the Uconnect 8.4-inch screens, which is a huge plus for that. That really makes it a top-notch infotainment system in my view. Coming down below the screen here though, it's just, you know, I love the Challengers. It's just a few buttons here and that's it, you know. So you have volume and tune knobs, you have, you know, the shortcut to go to the SRT mode, which pulls up those performance pages again. You have a launch control button there, you know, turning the traction control off, and then you have the climate controls with just, you know, 4 buttons on each side. Very simple, a big knob in the middle, and that's it. And so very easy to, you know, use. And of course you have this screen to go more in depth with your climate controls and whatnot. And overall, just a really great setup there. As far as storage space in the Hellcats here, it's great. Like all the other Challengers, they're all the same, of course. So you have in the door here first, there's a little pocket behind the back of the door here, but it's kind of hard to get to with the side bolstering here in these seats. So not super usable unless you actually open the door. But you do have a nice bottle holder right here. That's good to have that. Coming over to the center here, you just have a little slot that's, you know, large enough to fit the key, and that's about it. And then you have 2 cup holders here, which are a nice size and nicely out of the way, and good to have those. And then you have the center armrest, which is nice and softly padded, feels pretty good. And you open that up, and then you have a fairly deep center cubby here that, you know, you can fit a lot of good, you know, sunglasses, keys, wallet, all that kind of stuff will fit in there easily. Phones. You also have 2 USB jacks, an auxiliary jack, and a power outlet in there. And so overall, pretty good amount of space there, but you know, this isn't the best storage space as far as vehicles go. I think it's in the middle. The Mustang has a little more storage space. The Camaros have less, and this is right in the middle there. So overall, you know, for a sporty coupe, it's about on par with the rest, but not amazing, but not bad either. Backseat space in the Challengers is always really good. It's the best out of the muscle cars, and really great as far as all coupes in general are concerned. I mean, I'm 5'9", me sitting behind myself, I easily can fit back there. I have about an inch of legroom to spare, maybe, or a half inch there. It is, you know, on the tighter side, but I'm not rubbing my knees against the seat back or anything. Headroom, I still have a couple inches to spare as well. So, I mean, you could fit someone, you know, 6 feet or maybe just under that comfortably. Beyond that, it's not going to work probably. But, I mean, you know, so it fits, you know, a large amount of body sizes really well back there. And so, you know, a very usable back seat that's also very easy to get in and out of too. It's just the, you know, seat leans forward there. And so a very usable back seat, aside from, you know, all the other muscle cars, like I said, they're not quite as great to use, but this one you could actually use on a daily basis, you know, for smaller people, and you know, they'd be perfectly comfortable. They even have air vents back there and everything. Trunk space in the Challengers are also, you know, probably the widest opening out of the whole group of, again, muscle cars and things like that, and it's a nice sized trunk too. I mean, a lot of coupes, you don't get a ton of trunk space. This one, it's nice and deep, wide, and quite long as well. So overall, it's a really great trunk. All right, so start up and go for a drive. The Hellcats here come with this very nice Hellcat specific key. This is the red key. There are 2 different keys. There's a black one and a red one. The red one unlocks the full 707 horsepower, and it's a pretty typical Dodge key otherwise. But anyway, it's keyless entry and push button start, of course. You just leave the key in your pocket, hit the engine start button, it roars to life. All right, so setting off in the 2018 Hellcat Widebody. Well, first thing you notice is it's basically the same exact driving position, again, like the normal Hellcat. So you have a very good view forward. You have a little bit of a power dome there in the hood that, you know, you do have to look over a bit, but it's all part of the fun and the experience of driving one of these Challengers. It's just very cool to look out over. And otherwise, you know, view out of the sides is great. B-pillars go way far back there, and you have that little window in the back as well. So really great visibility out of the sides, and view out of the back is also really good with a smaller rear window, but it's you know, fairly close, and so very easy to see out of. The Challengers are really comfortable cars though, you know, just cruising here and drive in the normal, you know, comfort mode here. It is just really, you know, pretty refined, pretty quiet, not too much road noise, even with these 305 wide tires. It's a really great Grand Tourer car, really great for just cruising in a relaxed state as well. All right, so it's a cooler day. This is in the morning. It's only 52 degrees, and we got even a couple raindrops here. So I'm gonna try and get on it here. I'm gonna roll into it a little bit, but here we go. Woo. Yep, there it goes. Woo. Man, this thing wants to squirm. Oh, that's hilarious. It just really wants to spin those tires. 305 wide tires in this thing, and it's still just struggling for traction. It's amazing. So anyway, of course, you have with the Hellcats here the same 6.2 liter glorious supercharged Hemi engine that does 707 horsepower, 650 pound-feet of torque, and if you can get it to hook up, it does 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds, which challenges, you know, all the supercars. I mean, you can keep up with most of them in this thing. It's amazing. Quarter mile times for these are 10.9 seconds. So, I mean, this thing is really impressive in every single acceleration metric, as you might expect. It's the Hellcat. They're famous and legendary for, you know, just being such epic performers in a straight line. And they sound amazing too with this V8. You got an awesome supercharger line that's great as well. And this 8-speed ZF automatic, this one has, you can still get it with a manual. The 8-speed ZF automatic is really quick though. It's really intelligent with giving you the downshifts you need when you need them. And then if you do put it into manual mode, then it is still really good. I mean, listen to it bang off those gear shifts. It is quick. It's really quick. So yeah, this ZF 8-speed is one of the best in the industry, and just really great to use. The Hellcats are just such fun vehicles. I mean, they're heavier vehicles. You know, they think these ones weigh around 4,400 pounds. So not lightweights by any means. Certainly heavier than all the other muscle cars, but the other muscle cars also don't have 707 horsepower and this awesome wide body stance. So this is really the most muscly of the muscle cars. The other ones have kind of gone into the sports car territory. This, I mean, it'll handle much better, especially with these 305s. And I've driven Hellcats on track in the past, even the non-wide body version, you know, a couple years ago before the wide body existed. And even those, I mean, they handle decently for what they are. I think everyone, you know, writes off the Hellcats and all the challenges and says, oh, they don't handle at all. They do handle. I mean, they're heavy and you have to be mindful of what you're dealing with, but they do a really good job for, you know, what you're working with. And on most, you know, roads, on normal streets at normal speeds, you're not going to be like, man, this thing doesn't handle well. They're all plenty good handlers. But even with these 305s, these are Pirelli P0s, and I'm still feeling a little bit of a lack of grip. Again, it's only 50 degrees, you know, which is high enough for these tires to be operating, but it's just a cooler day. Like I said, it's a tiny bit damp, so I can't push it a whole lot, but I mean, these are still fantastic, and I can definitely tell, especially in the front, there's so much more grip, and in the back, of course, you have more grip. That's, you know, that shows in the 0 to 60 times and whatnot, versus, yeah, I mean, the standard Hellcats, they came with hilariously skinny tires. I think it was 275 wide, and, you know, you can get all seasons with them, which made matters even worse. And so, I mean, it was great for wheel spin and hilarious burnouts and all that kind of antics, but, you know, if you wanted to actually put power down, you really had to roll into it. I remember my first Hellcat review, I really had to be ginger with the gas there, because if you were too aggressive on it, I mean, it just would never hook up. It just kept spinning and spinning and spinning, and that's all it would do. Now, at least with the 305s, you have more grip, and on a warmer, drier day, you know, you should be able to hook up pretty well on those. Although I had some of my other colleagues that drove this yesterday, and they even said whenever it's even, you know, warm and dry, it still wants to spin the tires. So it's just, you can't tame 707 horsepower. It's going to be wild regardless. But the wider tires certainly help, and I think that plus the wide body just looks so much cooler. And you know, although the standard Hellcat is fantastic on its own, I think the wide body is definitely now the one that I would love to have. Just listen to that. You got supercharger on, you got exhaust burbles, you got it all. I mean, it's just, this car just assaults every sense you have. It's so great. I mean, just, it's a delight to the ears. It's a delight to every other part of your body that's just affected by these G-forces, and it's just great. Other things to note here, though, steering weight is really great. I think the 305 wide tires kind of help to give it a, you know, a little bit more of a heavier steering feel than I remember in other Hellcats. Another thing that's important to know about the wide body is they actually switch from hydraulic power steering to electric power steering. And I mean, like I said, it's been a little while since I've driven a Hellcat, but I mean, to me, it doesn't feel that much different. You still get a good amount of feeling through the wheel. They did a really good job with this electric power steering, and so I don't think it's anything that should scare anyone away from the wide body Hellcats. They said they had to do it for packaging reasons, I believe, and it doesn't even matter, because like I said, it's not detracting from the experience one bit. It feels great to me. You know, it's just a great steering weight, great steering feel, and so no complaints there with the steering either whatsoever. But as we're getting behind some traffic now, testing out the brakes a little bit, there are still these really beefy Brembos you get, and those combined with the wider tires, again, help with even your braking forces, so that it can brake even more ferociously than before. And So yeah, the throttle response is also really razor sharp, especially I'm in sport mode here, so everything is set up to be in a, you know, a little bit more responsive, but if I were to go into the auto mode here, it still is, there's a little more travel before it starts giving you gas, but it's still even fairly sharp here in the auto mode, and so you could leave it in the standard mode, and you know, it's never going to feel lazy with the throttle or anything. It's still very much eager to give you power and give you the acceleration that you want, and so everything actually feels really sharp for the most part. You know, there is a little bit of brake travel before you really get into the bite of the pad, but overall it feels really fine-tuned, and you know, it's not sloppy by any means like you maybe expect a Challenger to be, and you know, maybe in the past some of them were, but now, especially the SRT ones, and especially the Hellcat here, it's really they've really fine-tuned everything so well that it is a driver's car. It is really such a great driver's car. A little quick squeeze of the gas pedal, and that's all you need to forget about any you know, other shortcomings you might want to find with the Challenger. I mean, every complaint goes away the second you hear that whine and you feel the force of 707 horsepower propelling you. It makes you forget all your worries, any complaints about the car or anything else in your life. It's just wonderful. You just it's so ferocious in the way that it accelerates, and just so much fun. I'm so thankful that Dodge has just gone totally crazy with all the Challengers and put this motor in a bunch of stuff, and you know, kept improving the Challenger here, and you know, made it even better with the wider tires, the wider body. Every year or two, it seems they're always making everything better and better and better, and I love that they continue to, you know, pursue enthusiast cars. While everyone else is trying to go futuristic and stuff, they're like, hey, let's just stuff, you know, this huge motor with amazing power and everything that it fits in. Let's just give them all awesome grip, awesome performance, awesome handling too, and it's just, I really love Dodge as a company and the way they're approaching things right now. Alright, so now I'm out on the highway, and you know, some highway type speeds here in the Hellcat, and it's such a great cruiser. All the Challengers are. That's one of their best attributes. You can drive this car across the country and back in complete comfort, you know, because once you chill out with your throttle applications, I mean, the exhaust quiets down, doesn't drone or anything, you know, and it's just like I said, it's so smooth, so comfortable, and a really great cruiser. And so, yeah, I mean, I think the Challengers do everything really well. I mean, yes, the handling is the downfall, but I mean, I'm nitpicking. It's just, it's not the best handling car because it's just wide, it's large, and it's heavy. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't handle corners very well. It still does corner very, very well. And I think they don't get enough credit for how well these things actually do handle, because they do a really good job at SRT here, and it's a really impressive car. And especially if you live in, you know, a large portion of the country where there's a lot of straight roads, this is probably the most fun you can have, you know, for 70 grand or so. I mean, sure, you could, you know, get something that's more of a scalpel and sharper, but of course you're gonna have way less power. You don't get 700 horsepower unless you go up into supercar territory. And so, I mean, it's just an incredible value, and like I said, it's just so awesome that Dodge made the Hellcats and continues to offer them and improve them. They're just all such fun cars. So anyway, huge thanks to Dodge once again for providing me with this awesome Hellcat Widebody to review for you guys today. Let me know your thoughts about the Widebody Hellcat, and if you would take one, or the non-Widebody, or one of the other muscle cars, in the comments below. Thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care. One last quick little acceleration here. Now it's gripping. Yeah, this thing... These 305s, I think, really help a lot. And I mean, those second gear, we're only still, you know, it's about 60 degrees out now, and still, this thing is really, really impressive. I gotta say, I absolutely love them.